Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. You never really notice the moment your life starts to rot from the inside out. It doesn't come crashing down with a bang. It comes slowly, like water dripping from a ceiling you didn't know was leaking. For Noah Bennett, the unraveling began with a text. Not a dramatic confrontation or confession. Just one vibration in his pocket on a Thursday night while he was preparing pasta. Her favorite, of course. The message wasn't even meant for him. Can't stop thinking about last night. Same time tomorrow. XJ. He blinked. Read it again. His wife, Elise, was upstairs taking a bath. Candlelight, soft jazz. She said she was tired and needed to unwind. His hands trembled slightly as he stared at the screen. Wrong number? Joke. But it was on her tablet. The sync device. A simple slip she didn't realize when she signed into her iCloud across everything they owned. Noah stood there, hands coated in tomato sauce, heart pounding like a warning bell. He didn't confront her that night. Instead, he spent the hours watching her, every smile, every sigh, every glass of wine she poured. It all felt like theater. Suddenly, even the way she tucked her hair behind her ear felt foreign. Staged. He didn't sleep, just lay beside her, listening to the soft rhythm of her breath while wondering whose name she might whisper if she talked in her sleep. Elise had always been warm, passionate, and in public, they were the couple everyone envied. Power couple. Perfect marriage. She was the events director for an elite firm. He was a freelance photographer who built his reputation shooting fashion editorials and dramatic cityscapes. Their apartment in Westbrook Square was a Pinterest dream. High ceilings, rustic oak beams, cozy kitchen with copper pans hanging from the rack. Picture perfect. But perfect can be a disguise. Sometimes, perfection is just decay hidden under a coat of fresh paint. The next morning, Noah watched her in the kitchen. She hummed to herself, still in her robe, pouring almond milk into her coffee, smiling like nothing had shifted. He wondered if it thrilled her. The secrecy, the double life. Or maybe she had convinced herself it wasn't cheating if there were no strings. Just bodies. Just heat. He tested her. You said you were going to dinner with Layla last night, right? He asked casually. She didn't flinch. Yeah, wine and tapas. I told you. That was it. No details. No curiosity. Just a closed door. Noah started digging. Not because he wanted proof. He already knew. But because he needed to understand the scale of her betrayal. He waited until she left for her yoga retreat the next weekend. She said she needed space, clarity. He nodded, helped her pack, kissed her forehead, and then, as soon as her taxi disappeared down the road, he got to work. He went through her drawer first, not to find anything obvious, but because he knew Elise. She was organized to the point of obsession. Everything had its place. That's why the second phone, the one tucked under the false bottom of her jewelry box, startled him. It was a sleek black device, clean, wiped regularly. But not completely. Within minutes, Noah unlocked it with the help of a password reset request. Her mother's maiden name. Predictable. The texts were brutal. Last night was unreal. Can't believe we did that in your office. You're addictive. Noah could never make you come like that, huh? He's clueless. Makes it so easy. Noah couldn't breathe. He scrolled through weeks of exchanges. Photos. Voice notes. Plans. The man's name was Julian Marks. Elise's boss. 44. Married. A silver-haired executive who walked into rooms like he owned the air. Noah had met him once. Shook his hand at a company gala. Julian's smile had been too wide. Now he knew why. The text confirmed it had been going on for over 6 months. Weekly rendezvous. Hotel rooms. Even the retreat. A cover for a 3-day escape to the coast. She'd booked it using her friend's name. Noah didn't scream. He didn't throw the phone. He simply sat there, the device glowing in his hand, feeling like a fool wearing another man's cologne. But betrayal doesn't always shatter you. Sometimes it carves you slowly, like a dull blade slicing layer after layer until you forget what it felt like to be whole. And somewhere between rage and devastation, something shifted in him. He wasn't going to beg. He wasn't going to fall apart. No, he was going to destroy them both. But he would do it with precision, patience, and fire. He called his friend Aiden, a software engineer with a dangerous knack for surveillance tech. Within days, They had a clone of Elise's burner phone. Every call, every message, every appointment appeared in real time on Noah's screen. He started logging everything: dates, times, locations. He even rented a car under a different name and followed her once, just to be sure. Watched her walk hand in hand with Julian down a boutique-lined street, laughing like she was 21 again, high on lies and champagne. And Julian, he wasn't just cheating on his wife, Harper. He was siphoning funds from the company. Aiden tracked the transactions. Luxury gifts purchased under fake vendors. Retreats billed to non-existent clients. Elise was in on it too. Her name popped up in 2 fake invoices. Noah smiled for the first time in weeks. This wasn't just infidelity. This was fraud. This was leverage. He wasn't going to simply expose them. He was going to erase them. But first, he needed to lure them further in. Let them think they were untouchable. Let Elise plan her next escape. Let Julian become cockier, more careless. Let them dig their own grave. And when they did, Noah would be waiting, with a smile, a signature, and a sentence that would end them both. The hardest part wasn't discovering the truth. It was pretending not to know. Noah became an actor in his own life. He smiled when expected, laughed when prompted, even brought Elise flowers one evening, just to see how she'd react. She hugged him, a little too quickly, and said, "You're too sweet. I don't deserve you." She was right. She didn't. But Noah kept the mask on. He became obsessed with their routine, studying her the way he once studied light and shadow in his photographs. When she lingered too long in the bathroom, he timed it. When she giggled at texts during dinner, he memorized the way her thumb hovered before deleting them. She was slipping, more brazen now, confident in his supposed ignorance. They had their Sunday brunch ritual: avocado toast, mimosas, and people watching at Bella Rosa Cafe. It had been their thing for years. But now, Elise wore guilt like perfume, missed it on but never quite masked. She asked about his projects, his clients, and Noah gave vague answers. What he didn't tell her was that his latest project wasn't photography. It was her. Every stolen moment, every text to Julian, every receipt, every hotel she walked into and emerged from. He had it all. Aiden had even tapped into Julian's personal email. What they found wasn't just damning. It was delicious. Julian had been funneling money through shell companies for over 2 years. Luxury vacations, gifts, payments to consultants that didn't exist. Elise was named in one of the LLCs. Noah wasn't just going to expose an affair. He was going to detonate a scandal. But not yet. He needed one more thing: the moment. A stage. A crowd. A public. Irreversible reckoning. So he waited. Meanwhile, Elise spiraled deeper into her fantasy. She came home humming songs he'd never heard her play before. Her lingerie drawer filled with pieces he hadn't seen her wear. She started waxing poetic about new beginnings, how they should travel more, maybe even take a break to reflect on what we want. He knew what she wanted. One night, while she pretended to work late, Noah followed her. This time, he didn't just watch from afar. He checked into the same hotel, 2 floors up, with his own camera rigged through the vents, courtesy of Aiden's wizardry. He captured everything: Julian, Elise, her laugh, his smirk, their bodies wrapped like vines around each other, lips pressed, clothes abandoned like morals. But it wasn't the sex that broke him. It was what Julian whispered in her ear afterward. "He'll never touch you like this. He's too gentle, too dull. You're fire, and he's a wet matchstick." And Elise laughed. That sound echoed through Noah's soul like a bell tolling at a funeral. Something inside him died that night. But what grew in its place wasn't sadness. It was precision. Cold, focused rage. The kind that doesn't explode. It waits. When Elise came home the next morning, she brought him coffee and a smile. "You were up early," she said. "Couldn't sleep." She kissed his cheek, unaware that the man she once married no longer existed. He was done mourning. Now, it was time to build a trap. Over the next 2 weeks, Noah created a portfolio. Not of art, but of war. He compiled every message, every financial fraud document, every video. He even hired a forensic accountant to verify the transactions. What he held in his hands could ruin 2 careers, shatter 2 families, and leave Elise with nothing but the ashes of her lies. And just in time, because Julian was about to announce a major corporate partnership at the annual Winter Gala. Elise, of course, was planning the entire event. Noah RSVP'd without hesitation. On the night of the gala, he dressed in a black suit tailored so sharply it could slice skin. Elise looked like a dream in silver satin, her hand wrapped around his arm like she still belonged in his world. She had no idea she was walking in her own execution. The venue was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, a champagne fountain, and violins humming beneath the buzz of Westbrook's elite. Julian stood at the center of it all, grinning like a king awaiting his coronation. Elise disappeared into the crowd, no doubt to check details. Noah took the stage just as the first toast was about to begin. He tapped the microphone gently. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, voice steady, calm, and oddly warm. "I know we're all here to celebrate integrity, excellence, and the future of Marks and Whitman Ventures." A ripple of polite applause moved through the crowd. "But before that, I'd like to share something I've been working on. A short film." Elise reappeared, her smile fading. Julian's glass paused midair. The screen behind them flickered to life. Images, messages, audio clips. Elise and Julian laughing, touching, whispering. The texts, the hotel receipts, the kiss in the lobby, the fake invoices, the wire transfers. Even Julian's snide remark about Noah's manhood. It played in silence. And then, total silence. Like the whole room had been punched in the stomach at once. Elise turned pale, frozen in place. Julian's jaw hung open, disbelief in every inch of his face. Noah stepped back from the mic and simply said, "Now that's what I call full disclosure." He walked off the stage before anyone could stop him. Elise chased him through the service hall. "Noah, please, let me explain." He stopped, turned, looked her dead in the eyes. "You don't get to explain. You already said everything. And I heard every word." Tears filled her eyes. "I messed up, but we can fix this. We were good, Noah." He tilted his head slightly. "You're right. We were. But I'm not in the business of fixing broken glass with bare hands." She reached for him. He stepped back. "I sent the footage to Harper, Julian's wife. Just so you know." The blood drained from her face. "No. Oh, and the IRS." And then, for the first time since that message, he smiled. A real one. Elise stood there, shaking, mascara streaking down her cheeks like a woman waking up from a dream into a nightmare she built with her own hands. He left her there, alone, in the ruins. 2 days after the gala, Elise's name was scrubbed from the company website. Julian vanished from the media. And Noah? He didn't answer a single call. Elise tried. 23 times. Texted long apologies. Voice notes filled with tears. Photos of memories they once shared. He never opened them. Instead, he forwarded all messages to Harper Marks, Julian's wife. Within 48 hours, Harper filed for divorce. Clean, brutal. Lawyers. Asset freezes. Court subpoenas. Elise's entire inbox turned into a war zone. Her friends stopped replying. The boutique where she shopped sent back the dress she ordered. Refused delivery. Noah. He thrived in the quiet. For the first time in months, he slept through the night. Cooked for himself. Hiked in solitude. He picked up his old camera again. The world looked different now. Clearer. Sharper. He didn't smile often, but when he did, it was real. One evening, a knock came. Elise. Pale. Hollow-eyed. Clutching a small box of things. "Noah, I have nowhere else to go." He stared at her, then gently said, "You left nowhere else when you chose someone else's bed." Her lip trembled. "I made a mistake." "You made 100. This was a campaign, not a mistake." "I miss you." "No. You missed the version of me who hadn't seen the truth yet." She broke down on the doorstep. He didn't move, didn't open the door. And when she finally walked away, it was the first time she realized he was never coming back. Weeks passed. Elise tried everything. Emails, mutual friends, even showing up at Noah's old studio with teary eyes and trembling hands. But the door never opened for her again. She thought Julian might be her fallback. He wasn't. After the scandal broke, Julian's investors pulled out. His assets were frozen. Harper leaked financial records to the press. His career didn't just fall, it imploded. When Elise called him in desperation, his number was disconnected. She wasn't just betrayed. She was discarded. Now jobless, homeless, and socially blacklisted, Elise moved in with her estranged sister in a tiny walk-up near the airport. No air conditioning. No expensive candles. Just silence, guilt, and the constant hum of what could have been. Meanwhile, Noah rebuilt in quiet brilliance. His photography career surged, partly from the media buzz, but mostly because he poured his soul into every frame. He captured heartbreak, healing, and solitude in ways people felt deep in their bones. At an art show, a woman lingered in front of his centerpiece, a black and white image titled Stillness After Fire. She turned to him, eyes soft. "You took this." He nodded. "It's like, it hurts and heals at the same time." He smiled gently. "That's what truth does." Her name was Camille, a literature professor. No drama, just grace. They talked that night, and the next, and the next. Noah didn't rush anything. He wasn't chasing love. But when it came softly, honestly, he didn't run from it either. Because this time, it wasn't a lie. It was earned. Months later, Elise sat in the back of a crowded train heading nowhere in particular. Her phone battery was dead. Her inbox was empty. Her world, once filled with champagne galas and private rooftop dinners, had shrunk to a shared futon, gas station sandwiches, and a growing collection of rejection emails. Even her own sister had stopped talking to her, tired of the drama, tired of the whispers when Elise's name came up on social media, always attached to words like scandal, affair, embezzlement. She still dreamed about Noah. Sometimes, she woke up with his name on her lips, only to find cold reality wrapped around her like chains. In those dreams, he held her face, said he forgave her, said they could start over. But in reality, she knew he never would. Not after what she did. Not after what she chose. Julian, too, was a ghost. He disappeared after the divorce was finalized, and the board forced him to resign. The last she heard, he'd moved to another state, living alone in a cheap condo, battling multiple lawsuits from the IRS and former investors. And she, Elise, was a name people used as a warning. An example, a cautionary tale about losing everything for a thrill. Meanwhile, across town, Noah stood barefoot on the balcony of a quiet hillside cabin, camera slung over his shoulder, fresh coffee in hand. The morning air carried the soft scent of pine, and beside him, Camille wrapped herself in a blanket, leaning into his warmth. She hadn't asked for his past, not at first. She let him reveal in pieces when he was ready. And when he did, she didn't pity him. She admired his strength. "You ever think about her?" she asked one morning, not with jealousy, just calm curiosity. "Sometimes," he replied, "not because I miss her, just because I wonder how someone could throw away everything real for something so hollow." Camille was quiet for a moment. "She probably thinks you hate her." Noah exhaled slowly. "I don't. Hatred's too close to caring. I feel nothing now, and that's how I know I'm free." He still carried scars, but they weren't wounds anymore. They were reminders. Reminders of who he was before he broke, and who he became after. A week later, he opened a small envelope that had arrived by courier. No return address. Inside, a letter. It was from Harper Marks. "Thank you for the truth. I deserve to know what you did. Most people wouldn't have had strength. I want you to know that Julian didn't just lose his wife. He lost his kids, his name, his legacy. He calls sometimes, begs. I don't answer. You gave me my freedom back, even if it came wrapped in pain. That matters. So, thank you." Noah folded the letter gently and set it aside. He never replied. Some things didn't need a response. The following month, his photo collection, Fractured/Forged, debuted in a high-end gallery. It was raw, real. Each piece carried a story of betrayal, of survival, of reclaiming the self. Critics called it a masterpiece. One piece in particular, an abstract self-portrait titled Exit Wound, drew a quiet crowd. Stark lighting, blurred edges, a shadowy figure walking away from a burning home. When Elise saw it online, one of her few remaining browser tabs in an otherwise blank laptop, she stared for a long, long time. Noah wasn't just healing. He was thriving. And she'd finally understood the real loss wasn't losing Noah. It was losing the version of herself who once deserved him. And as the gallery lights dimmed that evening, Noah stood in the center of the room, Camille beside him, arms linked. "Where to next?" she asked. "Anywhere but back," he smiled. And they walked out together, into a future where truth wasn't a weapon, but a beginning.